There's a reason that more than half of today's ransomware victims pay the ransom. Cybercriminals have become thoughtful, not only taking time to encrypt your precious files, but also deleting any backups they find in order to cause you the most pain, panic, and operational disruption. On today's show, we discuss the state of cyber insecurity.
Hi, I'm Rob Fowler, the CEO of the Small Business Association of Michigan. I want to give you a little update on what's happening around the state relative to small business. We do a small business briefing on Mondays and Thursdays at 3 o'clock. You can find us on Facebook Live or Zoom, or go to sbam.org to find out more about that. This week, we've been watching gyms and fitness facilities in particular. A group of gym owners had sued the state to open and won in a district court the ability to open on June 25th. And in a last-minute reversal of that, the U.S. Court of Appeals reversed the order. And so gyms and fitness facilities are not able to open on June 25th. So stay tuned for that. It will take moving to what is called Phase 5 for gyms and fitness facilities to be able to be open. We've been watching for Phase 5 to come along, hoping that the governor would, through an executive order, move us to Phase 5, really downstate. The Upper Peninsula and tip of the Mitt are already in Phase 5. Phase 5 is a reference to the My Safe Start plan. And in Phase 5, it would allow office buildings to go back to normal, education facilities to go back to live education, and fitness facilities as well. This week, there's been a little spike in cases, and probably one of the more visible things was a bar in East Lansing ended up having 34 cases of the coronavirus and a spike. I think it's given the governor pause, and we're not certain we're moving to Phase 5 before the 4th of July, which is what I think we at the Small Business Association of Michigan have been hoping for to get all businesses back open. Also, the legislature met and approved a supplemental budget, and in that supplemental budget is $115 million for what are called Small Business Restart Grants. Small Business Restart Grants are available to companies with 50 or fewer employees, up to $20,000 for companies that have been affected by the coronavirus. They'll be available through local economic development organizations. So if you're interested in that, go to our website or to your local economic development organization. We've also been watching what is called WorkShare, a program of the state which allows someone to work part-time and still be eligible for unemployment insurance. We've been promoting WorkShare as an option for getting started back into business. Over 2,000 companies have taken advantage of this. 81,000 employees are now covered by WorkShare. So if you're interested in that, take a look. That's what's happening around the small business world this week. Thanks.
Today on the show, we have Detective First Lieutenant Jim Ellis of the Michigan Cyber Command Center, and Jeff Detloff, owner of Providence Consulting. Thanks for being here, gentlemen.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is very topical right now. Lots of cyber criminals out there looking at Michigan. So, Jeff, you are on the front lines every day working with business owners on security. Jim, you're with MC3. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. The MC3 is Michigan State Police's cyber arm. It's the Michigan Cyber Command Center. It was established 7 years ago to assist small and medium-sized businesses with network intrusions, any type of computer crime, not only from the criminal prosecution standpoint, if that is an option, but the prevention and awareness side for anything related to cyber. So small and medium businesses are our focus, along with the public and critical infrastructure.
Great. And I want to talk about these cyber criminals because we do hear as owners about a lot of these crimes. How pervasive is this? What is the motivation here?
So let me start with saying that the prevalency is key, right? Because I'll just use an example. One of our clients, over a 3-day period, had 1,200 unauthorized login attempts against their email account. That's 400 a day on average. That's every 15 times an hour, every 4 minutes, somebody is trying to break into their email. It's like somebody walking around the back of your building every 4 minutes and rattling the door to try and get into their business. And so we can't stop that. That's happening all over the world. The perimeter that we talk about on the network perimeter has changed. It's not just your building, it's not just your network, it's this cloud over here and that service over there, and every time there's a website where somebody's logging into, and the only defense against that is a username and a password. And the cyber criminals know that. And so they're going after that weak link of that password that people are sharing. They're using the same one all over the place, and they're getting access to the data. The motivation is stealing the data, and what's in that data is going to give them more information that they can then use for either a financial fraud of some sort, or to hold the business owner hostage to pay a ransom for getting their data back. Money is the motivation.
Yeah, financial. A lot of the motivations we see are just as Jeff mentioned. There's financial motivations. We get the employee retribution. Employee was let go. Employee's not happy. There's political reasons to try to sway a political party one way or another that you often hear in the news at the national level. It definitely keeps us busy, but financially is the number one reason right now.
So how capable are these cyber criminals?
Very capable. I mean, what's happened is there's learning, okay? You can go back 10 years and you can see the progression of the learning. And today, if I'm entering this as a business, okay, and it is, they're making money, so the cyber criminal, it's a cybercrime business, and if I want to get started, I don't have a very high barrier of entry. I can acquire knowledge very easily by paying for it. I can get tools that somebody else built. I don't have to come up with stuff myself. I can get tools that somebody else built. If I can use my techniques to get a phishing email into somebody's inbox and get them to click, that's a payoff to me. And so very capable at the entry level, and then you go all the way up to the state-sponsored, the government agencies, where they have just unbelievably incredible capabilities.
You mean other countries?
Yes.
State-sponsored cyber strategies.
Specifically Russia and China, Iran, other countries, everyone that doesn't like us.
Wow. So I'm a business owner, and let's say somebody successfully attacks me. I come into the office one day. What does that look like? What does that mean? I open my computer and...
You could see a variety of things. The number one we're seeing right now, of course, is ransomware. You may come in and all your files, all your data is encrypted. You can't access it, and you're literally shut down. Your email system could be affected, and the only thing you may have to go on is whatever you have on your phone. If you need to contact somebody, but literally your business would be shut down. So I think for the businesses out there, to bring awareness to them, is that if you did walk into your business one day and could not access what you needed to do to run your business, what would you do? So there needs to be a plan in place so they can help get through that and don't become more of a victim than they need to be.
Right, so this is the stuff that we work with business owners on, is to make them understand you have to understand your risk, okay? And that risk is very broad, and do the right thing. So start as just a normal business management tool, do a risk analysis. And we can help with that, and SBAM can help with that. There's lots of tools, simple risk assessment. And from that, pick the things that are going to have the most value, that you're going to spend some money, you want the most value for your money. So do those things first, and then start working on the rest of the stuff, because there's 500 things that you need to do. Let's start with the top 3. Let's start with two-factor authentication everywhere. Let's start with password hygiene, where users understand that they can't use the same password everywhere, that they need a complex password. And let's start with cybersecurity awareness training. People are the weakest link behind the computer. They need to understand the threat.
People, employees, you mean?
Employees, yes.
I gotta say, I get tricked sometimes thinking, oh, this is definitely something that I need to click on. So my little trigger is always look at the email address, because the email address is a really big clue. But now my employees, so we noticed this at Christmas time, are starting to get emails from, it looks like from Lisa Smith.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That say, hey, could you go buy some gift cards for me? What is this new scam?
Yeah, we're seeing an increase. The business email compromise emails are out there where they're actually spoofing your email address to make it look like emails are coming from you. And because people are so busy in their average day-to-day, they get a lot of email. And of course, if you're someone in a higher authority in a business, and of course your employees or your subordinates are going to want to hurry up and do what you need, because that's part of what they do. And oftentimes that business email compromise looks like it's coming from somebody else. They'll make a request, whether it's to change some accounting information, push out accounting information, make a payment, or we've seen the gift card scam where they want you to purchase gift cards and at your expense, and then they'll give you instructions of what to do with them thereafter, where ultimately it makes you the victim. So that's one of the widest ranging scams we see right now is business email compromise.
Right, and so talking about the capabilities, think about it this way. This is a cyber criminal operation. It's like a giant call center of people that are pushing out, trying to get someone to click. Now, let's say one of your employees actually responds to that email. Oh, Lisa, I didn't know you needed that. When do you need it, or something like that? Okay, so that's a fish on the hook. Okay, now the call center low-level guy says, "Oh, fish on the hook." That gets escalated to somebody else who is now having a direct conversation with you and may pick up the phone or do something or do some texting or something like that to really get them to close and to get the money in the bank for the bad guy.
And the one thing we stress with those is a lot of times those that get that email will simply reply to the email, which it then goes back to the bad guy. But there's a couple things you can do. Forward the email back to that person, so then you know you're using their email address if it hasn't already been compromised. Or easier yet, pick up the phone and validate the contents of the email.
Yeah, that's actually what happened to me. My employee picked up the phone and said, seriously, you want me to stop and get you some gift cards? And
Right.
I said, no, you
Yeah,
don't
so
need
that's
to do
the right.
that.
That's the exact right thing to
I
do.
don't know what you're talking about.
And that's the awareness that we need to train people to say, this is bad stuff that's happening. Be on the lookout for it, and then these are the proper steps to take when you see it.
So, but and that's an annoying email compromise. There are really malicious crimes that are going on. How likely? So I open up my computer now. I can't click on any files. How do I know that this is ransomware? I just want to know how this message comes to me, because I want owners to know immediately this has happened.
Yeah, typically when ransomware takes effect on a computer, you will get a message. There's a multitude of ways. They'll display a message on your screen. They'll change your wallpaper in the background with specific instructions telling you you're a victim of ransomware. Sometimes the English it'll be broken English, but it's getting better, so you can't always recognize it by how they're speaking or how they're writing. But they make it very clear to give you a message. A lot of times, if you look at the files in a folder, you'll also see a text file that has the same message in it with instructions of what to do.
And it's typically a time-limited message. You pay the ransom within this time frame. 72 hours is common, and if you don't, then you're not going to get your files back. And the encryption part of it is it just scrambles it and it puts a key on it, and you need that key to be able to get those files back. And who has the key? It's the attacker. So it's very dangerous, and what we've seen lately is that these aren't just, oh, I clicked on something and now I got some ransomware on my machine. Bad guy is on the network or on the computer, lying in wait, scheduling the attack to happen on Friday night when everybody's gone home or on a holiday, the start of a holiday, everybody's gone home, IT people aren't available. That's when the attack starts. And you have 72 hours, and the clock is ticking at 9:30 and 10 o'clock at night. And so when you come in on Monday morning, what do you have? 24 hours, and what do I do? And if you don't have a plan, you're going to be in trouble. We need business owners to be aware of this is happening and to do the right things, to be proactive in developing the plan, what to do when something bad happens.
So I'm sitting here as an owner thinking, yeah, what are the chances, that it's going to happen to me? What are the chances that it's going to happen to me?
I think Microsoft has some statistics that are in this 0.001% or 3% or something like that of all the computers in the world. But when you look at that statistic, that is probably much higher than the chance of a fire or a hurricane or a tornado or a pipe break in your building. The chances of this happening are far greater than that. And we are insured against all those other losses because it's common stuff, right? The insurance companies give us insurance for it. There's a weakness, there's a gap here where people need to ask their insurance provider and make sure that they have cyber liability and coverage that will cover these types of attacks.
Oh, there's insurance.
There is cyber liability insurance in the past 3 to 5 years has come on, but come across, but it is not a lot of people understand it, and not a lot of people know what, business owner, I don't know what coverage am I supposed to get.
So Michigan, Jim, what are you looking at in terms of stats, numbers? What can you help us understand?
I can tell you what we see as far as investigations or reports, because not every report turns into an investigation. Like I said, a lot of what we do is prevention and awareness. It's not, prosecuting. But our stats, I can tell you, over the last 7 years since the Michigan Cyber Command Center has existed, we consistently see our numbers rise from 20 to 35% per year. Today, on average, we take in 1,000 devices a month. These devices could be phones, computers, automobiles, anything that may contain digital evidence or has a memory that we can retrieve information from. And we see that number continuing. We don't see it slowing down, and we know that there's a lot of businesses not reporting for a lot of reasons. And I think it's very underreported right now.
I imagine it is. What if you don't pay the ransom? What if you do pay the ransom? What if?
Right. So there's some recent statistics that if you pay the ransom, that 97% of the time you're going to get the key to get your data back. I don't know if that's a good statistic or not. I think it came from a report from someone who is mitigating these attacks, and they have skilled negotiators. We've seen this a lot where here's a ransom request for $500,000. You get the skilled negotiator in there and they can reduce it to $80,000 because we don't need this stuff and we don't need this stuff. And it's a business transaction at that point, and you need an expert who's going to be able to understand the language, because there's sometimes language barriers between the attacker and the business owner, and then now I paid the ransom, and you get the key back, and most of your files come back. So there is a good chance of that. From a criminal perspective, we don't want people to pay the ransom because that put the $80,000 into the bad guy's bank account, which gives them more capability and more resources, and that's not a good thing on a long-term basis.
An incentive to do it some more.
Exactly.
Because it works.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, we definitely do not recommend paying a ransom because we don't want it to encourage the business practice, obviously. And I've even seen now, and you may be seeing this in the news, for those that don't pay, they're starting to publish data that they've taken from the businesses. So I think you're going to see that a lot. I've also recently read some states are drafting legislation to make it illegal to pay the ransom to help squash the whole activity. So we'll see what happens.
Right, so this is across industries. It's not just healthcare that we've heard about. Public sector is highly targeted. We've seen in the southern states, education highly targeted, professional services, all across the board. There is no, hey, I'm not in the targeted industry, so I'm at a lower risk. Everyone is targeted. Everyone is, it's low-hanging fruit. If you're doing the wrong thing, you could be in trouble.
Is it mostly a factor of how open is your digital foot? I mean,
Yes,
if you,
some of it is.
It doesn't
yes.
matter what you do. We can cause you grief, whether it's $5,000 for a small mom and pop retail, or I think here a public utility locally in town had a ransomware attack, right?
We often see you can have the best protections, you can have a large IT staff, you can have firewalls in place, and we still see those emails come through. They may block the majority of them, but every once in a while one will get through. And it only takes one click, and then it comes down to how rapidly they can detect it once it's in their network.
Correct.
What's the worst possible scenario for an owner that you don't recover?
The worst possible is you go out of business.
And that happens?
And it happens, yeah. We see it here in Michigan. We've seen it in other states. I'm tired. I can't deal with this. I give up. And that's their prerogative. They're the owner. All the people that work there are out of job. All the customers are out of jobs. All the vendors are out of jobs. Are maybe not going to get paid because there's a bankruptcy. Lots of legal issues. Just a terrible, terrible outcome.
Well, I really appreciate this show. It's so important right now, and it's just one of those things where you just have to focus on this if you're leading an organization. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We're fighting an enemy that's unseen, misunderstood, not taken seriously by some, and has the potential to have a devastating effect on our way of life. Now, you might think I'm talking about COVID-19, but I'm not. I'm talking about a real enemy, physical enemy, one that is richly funded, one that's highly skilled, one that is highly motivated and uses, in some cases, military tactics and strategies to achieve their mission. This enemy is cybercriminals. They're all over the world. Now, this is a pandemic, as much a pandemic as the COVID-19 is. This past week, the Australian government came out and had an urgent press conference where the Prime Minister talked about these cyber attacks and sort of alluded to state-sponsored meaning government agencies, military in some cases, Chinese, Russians, etc. These attacks against the Australian government, all sizes of governments, and their businesses, normal organizations, have been going on, just as they've been going on in the U.S. And so I'm happy to see that this type of stuff is now getting some press, because now it's caused others to start thinking about it. And it's caused this conversation in Australia specifically about, is the government not doing the right thing? Are we behind, etc.? The bottom line is this. The people that own these computer systems, the businesses, you, me, who operate these systems, are the ones that are being attacked. They are the attackees. And the attackers are much more well-funded, more highly motivated, and they are out to steal information, steal money from bank accounts if they can get to that, steal passwords, steal information on how we do business. So it's up to us, not just the government. The government needs to get behind things. The press needs to get behind things and to tell the world that this is not going away, okay? And the businesses themselves need to understand the risk and to take the appropriate action, to put proper funding in place to protect themselves. And if we all do the right thing, then we're all going to be safer, because this is a battle. And the enemy is not going away because they are finding success. In this battle, we are losing. But we can stop that. Do your part.
Focus on Tech, brought to you by Providence, making technology easier.
is Denise Policella for Focus on Legal. Let's talk about employee and customer wellness. There's a very old saying that goes, "No good deed goes unpunished." Well, today's business owners do want to do good because it's not just good PR anymore. A solid employee wellness program will attract a higher caliber of workforce and will increase your productivity, while a customer wellness plan will always engender loyalty and positively reflect on your bottom line. But it's at times like these when we forget to check the rearview mirror for risk that naturally comes with any new plan. So let's manage that risk together with a few simple steps. First and most importantly, have any new plan reviewed by a qualified attorney or employment law expert prior to implementation. These are the people that you pay to watch your back, so let them review your plan for any hidden legal issues. Second, make it voluntary. Coercion never really works very well and could legally backfire on you. So use education and encouragement to get as many people on board as possible, but don't make it mandatory. Third, consider outsourcing because you want to shift as much risk off of you and your business and onto qualified, insured professionals as possible. So don't lead that yoga class yourself once a week. Bring in a certified yoga instructor, or better yet, negotiate a discount at a local gym for all of your employees. And fourth, make it a pilot program at first. You don't want to spend a lot of time and resources on something permanent before you know it works. So make sure that you're willing to accept feedback and adjust where necessary. With these simple steps, you can make sure that all of the benefit and good that you're going to do far outweighs any risk. And stay safe.
Focus on Law, brought to you by Policella and Associates, PLLC.
The executive producers of Focus on Business are looking for your stories. Stories from owners of established businesses that have come through amazing adversity, bucked the odds, found the next big thing. If you have a story, we want to hear from you. Go to our website and maybe we'll invite you onto the show.